If you're looking for properties in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas with seller financing subject to an existing loan or lease to purchase type of financing scenarios, we could work together to see how we could help each other to navigate this market in 2025. What I can do is in 2024, there was a huge number of expired and canceled listings that did not sell. So for that reason, we know that this group of people, and it's a very large group of people, tried to sell in 2024 and failed to do so. For that reason, I'm personally putting together a list of properties that expired, canceled, and did not resell and did not sell off market and that list of properties could be used to scrub it for useful data for those of you who are looking for creative financing deals. Whether you're looking as a potential buyer or a wholesaler, it doesn't matter because the list is the same and the data will help you to achieve whatever business goals you have. Alrighty, let's take a look at the data so you can see what I'm talking about, and then we can discuss how we could work together to achieve our common goals. Let's do it. Okay, so what you're seeing is the MLS multiple listing service for the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, showing those properties that expired and canceled in the last year or so. And now some of them might have been listed or sold. This list has not been scrubbed, but it's okay. I can show you a scrubbed list later. Right now, let's just take a look at the parameters that we can choose from. So you could see how you could potentially narrow down this list to just the type of properties that are important to you. Let's just say that you're interested in finding properties under $400,000. This way we could just change the price parameter and then you could see all the properties. Now, those are the properties that advertised themselves as available for sale with either subject to an existing loan or seller financing or a rent-to-own option. Now, in my personal opinion, whichever type of financing that they chose, it doesn't really matter because the moment that they decided that they're open to creative financing as an option for their sale, they basically became a very easy sellers to discuss additional types of financing. So for example, if they said that they're open to seller financing, that means that they could potentially be open to subject to an existing loan if they do have a loan on that property, or to a rent to own if on that property. The moment that they said owner financing is okay, that opens up a whole range of possibilities of how that owner financing could be negotiated. So for that reason, when I show this list, it shows property that are open to owner financing subject to an existing loan or assumable mortgage or to rent to own, and we will treat them all as one group. Okay, then let's go. Okay, what type of parameters could we implement to narrow down the properties? So we have price, total number of bedrooms and bathrooms, square feet, acreage, year build, and the number of number of floors in a property. Garage spaces, how many living areas, fireplaces, pools, are they in a mud or a pod district? Do they have handicap access? Do we have any kind of information about their HOA and exterior features, such as additional items that could increase the likelihood that this would be a good fit for you, like an outdoor kitchen or a playground or private entrance? We do see their garage information or parking information. And the type of a lot, is it in agricultural, is it an agricultural property next to a green belt, next to, let's just say, golf course, etc. So those are the basic filters. We can filter by whether or not it's a single family, condominium, townhouse, mobile home, manufactured, or farm and ranch. We can also look at the construction material. So for example, if you cannot stand siding, we can say no siding, or if you do not want to deal with anything that has, let's just say, stucco, we can say no stucco. Then next we can see whether it's owner occupied, tenant occupied, or vacant at the time of the listing. Do they have any pool features like above ground, in ground? We can filter by property description, such as motivated, for example. So for example, if we're looking for people who are motivated sellers, or if, for example, they say TLC, or any other types of description that could help us. Oops, let's undo this fence. And then undo this because we don't need to add any additional filters. So for example, if we want to say motivated or single family residence or none, then we could continue to query it like, for example, TLC. And we can see that 24 of those needed TLC. Or for example, we could say motivated. Or we could say investor, like in investor type of property, etc., etc. Then we can see whether it's or not at the waterfront. We can look by school district. We can take a look at whether or not there's tables or any kind of additional garages, any kind of workshops in there, RV boat storage, etc. If you're interested in somebody with a guest house, we can say separate entry quarters or tenant house. Cumulative days in the market, we can see how long they've been in the market. So for example, if you want to see somebody who have been in the market for 60 plus days, will be a different type of, oops, do this, will be a different type of 60 plus days, will be a different type of a seller who's been in the market for, let's just say, 300 days. I can guarantee you that these two types of sellers will be very different in their approach. Okay, then we can see on whether or not it has AG exemption. Now, we do have additional fields by which we can filter. It just, I have not included all of those filters yet because there was no need for me to dig too much deeper into this list, but this list is quite long. So if you do have some unusual filters that you would like to try to implement, we can definitely see if we can accommodate. Okay, so now we have seen this list. So let's take a look at how the list will look like once you receive it. So if you're interested in collaborating, I can create a list that will look kind of like this for you. And based on your filter, there could be more or fewer properties on this list. And then once you get to the list, then you can navigate to each specific property and take a look at specifically what that property is, and then decide whether or not you're interested in that property. Okay, this is the MLS list that I can download or I can send to you for your review. And let's take a look at what we can do with that list once we get it into our hands. 1 second. Okay, so this is an example of a list that we could download. I whited out some of the fields because it is a YouTube channel, and obviously I want to protect the identities and the private information of the owners who own those properties. But nevertheless, what you can see, I highlighted the types of information that we can see once we download the list. My apologies. And what I do is I take the list and then I run it through some additional data aggregators to obtain information that is not available straight in the MLS. So for example, we can see this information is in MLS. So this is all MLS information. Now, the rest of it is not information that you can see in MLS. So for example, owner's name, again, I'm not going to display it here because it's, we don't want to display people's private information, but let's just say that if you wanted to look up the information, you could. We can see the ownership links, how long they have owned the property. So let's just say 165 months versus, let's just say, 2 months or 15 months. That could make a difference for your calculations on whether or not it's a good owner to work with. Now we see whether the owner is an individual, a company, or a trust, because It's definitely easier to work sometimes with individuals. We can see whether or not it's owner occupied and whether or not it's vacant. We can see the owner's contact information. Now, the phone information tends to be fairly outdated, but it's still a good start from the standpoint of where we can start our research into their contact information. Unfortunately, it doesn't show whether or not the phone number is a do not call list. We'd have to create a separate different scrub for that. But nevertheless, starting with this information is definitely helpful. Then we potentially have owners' emails if they do have an email. I'm not going to display it right now, but some owners have an email on file, some don't. We can see the age of the owner. So, for example, if you're looking to target somebody who's in their 50s or in their 60s or in their 20s, those could be three different or four different groups of different homeowner groups to target. The last sale date, when did they buy the property before that? So if, for example, the last sale date was in 2023 or in 2024, there's a very good chance that this person is a flipper and he bought the property, and for whatever reason, he's unable to sell the property. Estimated value. Now, that is an ARV based on a very rough approximation of the MLS built-in ARV tool. That doesn't mean that this ARV is accurate and it needs to be verified. Estimated equity amount and estimated equity percentage. So if you're looking to target owners with 100% equity or with, let's just say, less than 10% equity, this information is available. So people have negative equity. Okay. So we have equity. We know whether or not they have an open mortgage, at the very least, an open mortgage that we can see. Typically, we don't see private notes being recorded, but in terms of mortgage, we should be able to see whether or not they have a mortgage balance. What interest rate. So if we're looking for subject to an existing loan type of data, then we can see whether or not they have, for example, a 2.9% interest rate on their first mortgage, or they have a 6% interest rate on their first mortgage. That definitely will make a huge difference. We can see what is their what date the mortgage was recorded, what kind of a loan type they have. So, for example, FHA or VA, or what is the loan type that they have. We see the lender name and the type. So grant deeds, people who have grant deeds are different from people who, for example, have deeds of trust, etc. Position, do they have a second position loan or just the first position loan? Because people who have a second position loan could be interesting to target as well, from a standpoint of them being able to sell on an open market and us being able to, for example, offer them subject to an existing loan type of a solution. Tax amount, in case you're interested in that kind of information. Now, status means, are they currently delinquent on their mortgage, and are they in default of their mortgage? And if yes, what is the default amount? How much is the opening bid? What is the recording date of the mortgage default? And when is the auction date? Again, I'm whited out all of those fields because obviously we're protecting people's private information. Alrighty, so this is the type of a table that we can receive once we select the properties that are of specific interest to you. And then once I run that list, the final list of selected properties, against some additional data aggregators. So what do we do after we get this list? Stay tuned. Well, now that we have the data and the contact information about for the owners, now we can proceed with marketing. And when we say me, us, it means either you by yourself after I have given you this data, or if you do not have the capability to perform your own marketing campaign, I can assist with that as well. What kind of marketing assistance can I provide? Number one, I do have pretty good design capabilities for Canva and other tools. So, for example, designing postcards, marketing materials, door hangers, or any kind of other flyers is not a big problem because I'm doing it for my own realtor work all day long anyway. So just designing another postcard or designing another flyer is definitely not a big project for me. Number two, once the flyer or the marketing material, and it doesn't need to be a printed marketing material, it could be a digital marketing like Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever ads that you need to be displaying, design capabilities are available. Once you have your ad designed, I do know how to run both digital ads, for example, Facebook and Google ads, and I know how to run a printed marketing campaign. I work for Keller Williams in Dallas Fort Worth area of Texas. So in our Keller Williams office, we do have a design, mailing, and printing center, which means that we have people on staff who can assist me with printing professional looking marketing pieces and then mailing them on time on a specific schedule that I set for those helpers. So, and from a standpoint of marketing and mailing, everything could be handled by the marketing shipment and mailing center within my office. So you and I do not need to spend too much time trying to figure out the logistics of the mailing campaign. One, if the mailing campaign is not needed, then additional services that I could provide is I already have multiple Facebook campaigns running. I'm starting to run the Google ad campaigns this year, so I do have some experience with running those campaigns and fine tuning those campaigns. So if you need assistance with that, I can definitely assist you with that. How could we collaborate? So let's just say that I can help you with all of those items, but what kind of collaboration you and I could have for our mutual benefit? I have two interests of my own that I'm happy to disclose. Number one, I am an investor who is looking for additional properties with subject to an existing loan or with seller financing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. That's number one. So as we're researching the properties, we might bump into properties that I am personally looking to buy or would be interested in purchasing if the numbers work out. But number two, in case we have some property that I do not have interest in that case, what you and I could do is I could help you to purchase those properties, either being a buyer agent if the owner agrees for you to have a buyer agent, or we can tell the owner that he doesn't have an agent, the owner doesn't have an agent, you do not have an agent. So for that reason, both of you are unrepresented as far as the owner is concerned. And many homeowners really love that when you tell them that, hey, there will be no realtors, no realtor fees involved, and I pay all the expenses. The owners really seem to fall for those lines, and you could really net some really good deals that would otherwise be unavailable. So what we could do is, if you're familiar with negotiation and the paperwork for those type of deals and financing structures, great, go for it. Just give me a small finder fee. If you're not familiar with the paperwork and with the negotiation process, then I can assist you on the side and just do a consultation fee that would have nothing to do with the me being a realtor and me just helping you to navigate through that process. And then I get paid a consultation fee at the end. That could help you to discuss it with the seller and see if he would be interested in cutting his costs, making the investment more profitable for him, and making it easier for you to secure a yes from the seller in terms of purchasing his property. That is about it for right now. I don't know what else I could cover. If you do have any questions about the process, oh yeah, so I've been a realtor for six plus years now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I own my own investment properties that are midterm rentals slash co-living rentals, and I'm planning to buy nearly half a dozen more this year in 2025. So I definitely understand the business side of this sort of financing slash rent to own slash subject to an existing loan type of transactions. And I also understand the investment part of these transactions and whether or not the investment could potentially cash flow. So if you're not sure if an investment could cash flow, let's sit and discuss this, because I do have visibility into midterm rental markets, short-term rental market, and co-living markets. So I get my leads from Airbnb, and I do have people living room by room in my rentals. So If that helps you to maximize the profit from the property, that's perfect, and I can help you with that. Alrighty. My name is Elena Garrett, and I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Central in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. If you have any questions about what I can offer, how we can work together, feel free to contact me, and let's make this deal happen. Talk to you soon.